As predicted, COVID cases are increasing locally. 65 persons have so far tested positive, with 51 of these currently active, 9 more than on Saturday. With 227 test results still pending, it can realistically be assumed that the figure will continue to go up. The majority of the patients are recovering at home, with 6 in hospital, 2 of whom are in the critical unit, although without requiring ventilation. So far, Gibraltar has sent swabs for analysis to the United Kingdom or Spain, meaning that results have taken a relatively long time to be returned. However, this is set to change later this week, when analysis of swabs will be carried out locally.
The GHA lab is on target to start up our in-house testing later on this week, making us independent of external laboratories in the UK and Spain. This will allow a fast turnaround of results, which is critical to keep up with our data collection. This helps us predict the progression of the infection and allows us to assess the success of our current isolation measures and social distancing within the community.
In addition to laboratory services, the Europa Point Field Hospital is also set to open in a few days, with triage of patients for admissions subject to the same protocols in place at St. Bernard's. There are 190 beds at Europa, with room for expansion if required. The aim for the government and public health authorities is to flatten the curve of infections so that the GHA can cope with the expected surge in cases. As in Spain, a further tightening of restrictions on movement is not discarded. But for social distancing to be effective, current privileges must not be abused. Law enforcement agencies have now adopted a stronger approach.
Going shopping should not become a social event. Indeed, Morrison's will now allow only one person per trolley. Doing exercise should not become an excuse to have a picnic. Taking the dog out or throwing the rubbish should not take all morning. The whole point of lockdown is to stay inside. It is not to find excuses to go out as much as possible. That is why the Royal Gibraltar Police, Customs and the Gibraltar Defence Police will stop you. They will want to know where you are going. They will ask to see your ID if you happen to look over 70. This is for your own protection.
Everything possible is being done to make it easier for the public to stay at home. A storage and transport hub at the Dockyard's Old Training Centre has been created, with volunteers tasked with deliveries of groceries and medication. The number of pedestrians crossing the border into Gibraltar has dropped drastically. Compared to the same week in 2019, there's been a drop of 153,000 people, with just 19,000 pedestrians this week. This has been attributed in part to the closure of 22 construction sites and reduction of workers in the remaining 24 that have been granted a permit. It's worrying times for the 23 Gibraltar residents who've been unable to make it home so far and who are currently in various countries around the world. The Foreign Office has been made aware of their plight, but travel to the Rock for the moment may be very difficult, with EasyJet having suspended all flights to Gibraltar until the 7th of April. The government remains in discussions with both EasyJet and British Airways. The Deputy Chief Minister declared that the rise in cases tallied with the modelling and that they had planned for the worst. He appealed to everyone that as the lockdown took its toll on people's patience, they should not lose sight of the wider picture.
Now the main priority of the government, the GHA and Public Health Gibraltar is to save lives. To save lives in a war against a killer virus that is ravaging the planet. It wants to destroy us too. Help us to protect you. Help us to help you. Let us concentrate on what is really important this time, the threat to life, and join us in this battle. The Rock has been a home for 300 years. We have withstood countless sieges against greater odds. We have the spirit and the mettle to stand up to the enemy, for that is what we have always done. That is who we are.
As has been said frequently, worse times are coming for Gibraltar, with Dr. Garcia appealing for help so that the government is able to assist the public. It described the fight against the virus as a war for which the only weapon available is the advice that is constantly being given. Therefore, we must all use and follow the advice.